a new set of skills as well. I know it's a lot of information, but what's that process been like towards the end of last season and now turning the corner to 2025 and building that relationship with McLaren and also Tony Kanaan?
Yeah, again, it's just been good to have time with everyone in the off season because I started in the busy part of the season, and we just didn't have a lot of time away from the racetrack to get to know each other and to talk. And so my relationship with Tony and with Pato, those relationships have grown a lot, and they're both very, very valuable assets for me. So yeah, obviously both have a ton of experience at the Speedway. Have both been very fast at the Speedway, and I'm looking forward to going back in May. I think that's the month that I'm most looking forward to, and I think it's going to be a different experience this time around.
Will things come, I don't know if natural is the word, but will things come more natural now that you're settled in? You know what race car you're going to be in. Your dad's not running out of the paddock at Road America to run in the hotel room to get your suit. I mean, things are stable, which is always good for a race car driver to only have to focus on being in the race car.
Yeah, last year, I mean, really all year, I'd go to the racetrack, and whether it was that, I didn't know if I was racing the next weekend or I didn't know what I was driving or something new came up, there was so much to think about apart from driving the race car. And that brought a lot of challenges that I won't have this year. So I think it's going to be really nice to know what I have and know what I'm doing and be able to focus on driving the race car instead of, focusing on finding a ride for the next weekend or finding a ride in INDYCAR, WEC or IMSA, Indy Next. It's just there's so much less going on in a way, which sounds weird to say given that it's my first full season in INDYCAR and first full season with Arrow McLaren, but it's actually much more simple than it was last year.
Steve, I'm sorry, who's got a mic? Mary got a mic. Sorry. Nope, not Mary.
And Steve has
Let's go Steve Wittich. Go ahead, Steve.
Hey, Nolan. You're going to have a new engineer this year, Kate. How cool is it to be working with someone that's as fresh as you are and that probably, will look at things a little bit differently like you might with your age?
I've really enjoyed working with Kate. She is new to the race engineer role. She is by no means new to INDYCAR. She has a lot of experience and has been doing a phenomenal job so far. I'm really excited about working with her, and I've spent quite a bit of time with her now, and we get along really well. I think that makes a big difference. So looking forward to it. And yes, I think while on the surface you look at, new driver, new engineer, how's that going to go? I think in a lot of ways a new perspective can be a good thing. And, there are a lot of engineers that have been around for a long time and have a lot of experience and knowledge. Sometimes it's nice to have someone that's open to experimenting and open to, trying to do things a little bit differently. So I think we're going to find quite a bit of speed and, have a good time doing it.
What is a good season for Nolan Siegel when you look back in September?
The goal is to be on the podium and win races. I mean, it's super competitive. It's an incredibly competitive race series, and it's by no means easy, and every weekend isn't going to be smooth, but I think that if we capitalize on the weekends where we have a strong race car and we're in, the positions that we want to be in, we're going to have chances to be up front and, be celebrating on Sundays.
Thank you.
Thanks, Steve. Any more in person? Let's go David Deland in the back, and then Archie O'Reilly online on Zoom. We'll head your way. Take a few more off Zoom.
Yeah, Nolan. It's something that I asked Christian. Obviously, he's the new addition to the team, but obviously you kind of came in at a very hectic time. But this McLaren is an internationally famous brand. I mean, it's the brand that seems to sell the most merch, even in IndyCar races. So what is it like? I mean, is there any more pressure driving for a team that not only has such a a large and demanding fan base, but really, you have a lot of demands with the media, with sponsors. I mean, this is a team that's very, very involved. So kind of describe that process and what it's like to adapt when you join a team of this caliber.
It is difficult at times from that perspective. I think, the expectations are very high from a team like McLaren. There are a lot of people watching. There are a lot of eyes on it. At the end of the day, the people whose opinions I care about are still the people that I work closely with. And from that perspective, it's no different than any other race team, right? So, yes, there are a lot of people watching, but at the same time, it's the same size as any other race team, and I'm working closely with good people. So there are the media obligations, and, there's a big fan base, but I think you have to kind of separate that from, the on-track running, which is, at the end of it's a very good IndyCar team. It's an IndyCar team, So I think just separating those aspects of it is important. But it's an honor to be representing a brand like McLaren, and to be able to go to the Formula One races and see what those guys are doing and be a part of that organization as well is it's an honor for me, and it's very cool and not something that I expected to be doing right now. So grateful to be here, and I'm grateful to be here and grateful for all aspects of being a McLaren driver.
Yeah, I ran into you in Las Vegas, and tell the people how fast you got the road car going on the backstretch there at Vegas.
Yeah, we were doing 200 miles an hour in road cars at Vegas with passengers, which was, I remember it was me, Pato, Mika Hakkinen, and Christian, and we all did our first session and came out and we were like, we're not doing it the next day. Like, we're done, no more. And then we all came back the next morning and we were all excited to do it again. But no, it was interesting.
Archie O'Reilly, Die By Motorsports. Go ahead, Archie.
Cheers, Dave. Hi, Nolan. You said in the summer, kind of ahead of the closing part of the 2024 season, that your main goal was to kind of just learn and be in as good a shape as possible, getting to St. Pete this year. So how do you feel that learning process kind of went as you kind of went through those kind of early races with Aaron McLaren? And do you feel that you are in a position where you can fight nearer the front this season?
Yeah, I was thrown into the deep end for sure, but I think that, those challenging weekends and moments are when you learn the most. So I feel like I'm in a much better position going into 2025 than I would have been having not done those races. And I feel like myself and the whole team has used this off season very productively. And I feel like we're in a really good spot going into 2025. So the goal is to go into St. Pete feeling like, there was nothing more we could have done to prepare. And I feel like we've been doing that so far.
And you kind of mentioned the work that you've put in as a team over the off season. Can you go into maybe any of the specifics that maybe you wanted to improve on yourself?
Yeah, going into my first full season in IndyCar, there was a big focus on physical preparation. I've gained like 15 pounds, which was I don't think it was an issue last year, but I feel like I'm in a better spot physically now to drive the IndyCar than I was last year. We've reviewed, at this point, almost every race of the season from a strategy standpoint, just to help me better understand IndyCar strategy and the IndyCar rules. I think it was a challenge last year for me to be thinking about strategy in the car just because I didn't have the experience and didn't know, what different scenarios really meant for our race. So I think I'll have a much better understanding of that and be able to be more involved in the strategy while I'm driving the race car. So it's hard, right? We don't have very much testing, so it's hard to really work on driving specific things. But there's so much more to it than that.
Cool. Good stuff, Nolan. Best of luck for the rest for the year, and thank you, Dave.
Yep, you got it. One more off Zoom. Fleur from Pit Debrief. I hope I pronounced your first name right. Go ahead.
Thank you. Hi, Nolan. My question is obviously as like the youngest driver on the grid with McLaren, that's a big expectation, but they do have an extensive junior program and resources for young drivers. Do you think that's helped you, and do you think the team themselves have been prepared for a younger driver coming in because of that?
No, I would not say that I've been in any way part of the McLaren junior program. The IndyCar team functionally is kind of its own thing. But having my teammates and having Tony Kanaan with me has been very helpful. So there have been people that have been very willing to help and have a lot of experience on the IndyCar side, but there's no real connection to any McLaren junior program in any other aspect. I feel, I'm not a part of the McLaren junior program. I'm a part of the McLaren IndyCar team, and the goal is to win IndyCar races, not, develop a junior driver.
Perfect.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions in person for Nolan? Hang on. It's microphone here. Hang on. Thank you.
Hi, Nolan. Just a quick question. Since you're with McLaren, is there any interest or has there been any discussions about you moving up into Formula One someday?
I would love to race in Formula One. The goal right now is to, again, be a championship contender in IndyCar. That is the main focus at the moment. So, if I had the opportunity to do a Formula One test or have reserve position or something like that, I would absolutely be open to it. But my focus and goal is not to move to Formula One. I think, yes, I would love to do it, but there's no focus being put on that. It's all on IndyCar at the moment.
Thanks, Lucille. Is that your throwaway camera there? Is that your?
Yeah, you weren't in the photo. I took a photo with everyone.
Oh,
You want to be in?
Oh, I don't have to be. It's fine.
Yeah, here. Ready? Here,
Okay.
get it.
Ready? Right.
There you go. Okay, now we're set.
The sad thing is you weren't around for the first time disposable cameras were a thing, right?
I was
This
not.
is like new technology for you.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. Okay. All right. We'll talk later. If there's anyone else, otherwise we'll let you go. Thanks for coming in early. Appreciate it. Thank you. That's Nolan Siegel.